Listen carefully, because what I'm about to share will change the way you understand communication between Hive, Al, you women and men forever. This isn't some ordinary advice you've heard 100 times before, nor is it about tricks or tactics. No, this is about something deeper, the essence of how truly valuable women carry themselves in conversations with men, and how that transforms not just the relationship, but the very way men see them. Imagine this: you're in a room filled with people, but there's one woman whose presence feels magnetic. When she speaks, it's like the air shifts, everyone leans in, drawn by the power behind her words. Not because she's loud or demanding, but because she carries something rare. She carries intent. She knows exactly who she is, what she wants, and how to express it with a confidence that isn't loud but unmistakably clear. That woman, she doesn't need to shout to be heard. Her voice alone commands respect. Now, why is this so important? Because so many women settle for less. They talk without intent, they speak to fill silence, or worse, they speak hoping to please or gain approval. But the Hive Val, you woman, is different. She understands that every word she utters is a choice, a deliberate act of expressing her truth. And that choice, that clarity of purpose, shifts the entire dynamic. It changes how men respond to her, how they respect her, and ultimately, how they value her. You see, conversations between men and women are often tangled in expectations, fears, and misunderstandings. But when a woman speaks with intention, she cuts through the noise. She doesn't waste time with games or confusion. Instead, she lays herself bare in a way that demands honesty and respect. This doesn't mean she reveals every thought or feeling without discretion, but it means she doesn't hide behind ambiguity or passivity. She's bold enough to be clear, yet wise enough to be respectful. And here's something many overlook. Intent is felt before words are fully heard. When a woman approaches a conversation with confidence, not arrogance, but quiet certainty, men can sense it. It's like an invisible energy that sets the tone for everything that follows. This energy invites genuine connection rather than superficial banter. It creates a space where real dialogue can happen, where respect flows naturally, and where attraction deepens. But intent alone isn't enough. A Hive Val, you woman, pairs it with respect for herself, and respect for the man she's speaking to. This respect is never about submission or lowering herself. It's about standing tall in her worth while also recognizing the worth of others. When a woman speaks with respect, she balances strength with kindness. Her words build bridges instead of walls. This is a delicate dance, but when done well, it transforms conversations into moments of mutual growth. Now, I want you to think about your own conversations. How often do you speak with true intent? How often do you pause and ask yourself, why am I saying this? What do I want to achieve here? If your answer is rarely, then you're missing the key that unlocks powerful communication. There's also something profoundly freeing about speaking with intent. When you know your purpose, you stop fearing how others will react. You stop bending to fit expectations that don't serve you. Instead, you own your voice. You own your truth, and that ownership is magnetic. It draws people in, not because you're trying to win them over, but because you are unapologetically yourself. I want you to imagine this woman again, the Hive, Al, you woman in the room. Notice how she commands not just attention, but respect born from the sincerity and clarity of her words. It's not about impressing or proving anything. It's about being real, being present, and being clear. And here's the real secret: this kind of communication doesn't just benefit her. It benefits the men she talks to, and it benefits every relationship she builds. Because when she speaks with intent, she invites men to do the same. She creates an environment where honesty is encouraged, where vulnerability is welcomed, and where connection deepens naturally. So, listen carefully to this advice and let it sink in. This is not just about talking differently. It's about thinking differently. It's about understanding that the power of your voice lies not in how much you speak, but in why and how you speak. When you master this, you change the game entirely. This is the first step toward becoming a high, Val, you woman who doesn't just talk to men, but transforms the very way men listen and respond. And trust me, once you start doing this, you will never go back to empty conversations or misunderstandings. You will create moments of true connection, moments where your value is undeniable because your voice carries your worth. So again, listen carefully, because what I've shared today can be the beginning of a transformation in your relationships, your confidence, and your life. The way you communicate is the way you are understood. Make sure you're speaking from a place of power, clarity, and respect. And watch how the world around you begins to change. There is a power so profound in the simple act of knowing why you say what you say. When a woman steps into a conversation with clear intent, everything changes. It's as if the words carry weight beyond their meaning. They become a force that moves the energy in the room, shapes how others perceive her, and sets the course of every interaction. Without intent, words are just noise, empty echoes that fade away. But with intent, they become seeds planted in the minds and hearts of those listening. Think about the moments when you've spoken without really thinking, when your words were reactionary or scattered. Maybe you were trying to please someone, avoid conflict, or simply fill silence. How often did those conversations leave you feeling unheard, misunderstood, or even regretful? That's the power of speaking without intent. It leaves you vulnerable to confusion and disappointment. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine a woman who approaches every conversation with purpose. She knows exactly what she wants to communicate, why it matters, and what she hopes to achieve. This isn't about controlling others or manipulating outcomes. It's about clarity and respect, clarity for herself and respect for the person she's speaking with. This woman understands that every conversation is an opportunity, a moment to create connection, to set boundaries, to inspire, or to simply be seen. When intent is clear, her words become like arrows shot with precision. They don't wander aimlessly or get lost in the noise of uncertainty. Instead, they hit their mark because they are guided by something far stronger than mere impulse or emotion. They are guided by purpose, and here's the thing: intent doesn't always mean speaking at length or dominating the conversation. Sometimes intent is found in the pauses, the thoughtful silences, and the choice of what not to say. It's the wisdom of knowing that your words carry power, and with that power comes responsibility. So she chooses her words carefully, not out of fear, but out of respect for the truth she holds inside. This kind of communication is magnetic. Men are drawn to it because it signals strength and self-awareness. It shows that she values herself enough to speak her truth and values the man enough to be clear and honest. This clarity fosters trust, and trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. But more than that, intent empowers the woman herself. When she knows what she wants to say and why, she steps into her own power. She no longer feels like a victim of circumstances or the whims of others. She becomes the architect of her own narrative. This shift is profound because it moves her from reacting to life to creating life, from being tossed by every wave of opinion or emotion to steering her own course with confidence. Intent also protects her energy. Think about how exhausting it is to engage in conversations where your meaning is misunderstood or ignored. It drains your spirit and diminishes your self-worth. But when you speak with intent, you create boundaries around your energy. You communicate not just words, but your value. You say, "I am here with purpose, and I expect to be heard and respected." There is also a certain elegance in intent. It's not loud or desperate. It's calm, steady, and unwavering. It's the quiet strength of someone who knows their worth and doesn't need to prove it through empty chatter or trying too hard. This elegance commands attention naturally because it comes from a place of authenticity. Many women have been taught to avoid conflict or soften their words to be liked. But you women know that intent is not about confrontation. It's about clarity. It's about being honest with themselves and others. And when that honesty is communicated with respect, it creates space for real connection, not just with men, but with everyone around them. So, how do you cultivate this power of intent? Start by asking yourself before you speak, what am I really trying to say? Why does it matter? What do I want to happen as a result of this conversation? When you learn to answer these questions, your communication becomes intentional. It becomes a tool to build the life and relationships you want, rather than a source of confusion or frustration. And here's the beautiful truth. Intent doesn't mean you have to have all the answers or never make mistakes. It means you commit to being conscious and purposeful in your communication. You embrace your power to shape your reality with your words. When a woman speaks with intent, she doesn't just talk, she leads. She doesn't just ask, she commands attention. And she doesn't just exist, she thrives. This is the essence of high-value communication, the kind that moves mountains and changes lives. Remember, every word you say has the potential to build or break. Speak with intent, and you build bridges that lead to respect, trust, and deep connection. Speak without it, and you risk losing your power in a sea of meaningless noise. So, the next time you engage in a conversation, pause and find your intent. Let your words be guided by your purpose. This is not just advice. It's a call to own your voice, your truth, and your power. Because when you do, you become unstoppable. There is a profound difference between leading with respect, confidence, and clarity, and approaching conversations with aggression or submission. Hi, Val. You women understand this difference instinctively, and it is what sets them apart in the way they communicate with men. They lead not by overpowering, but by owning their space and their voice with dignity. This leadership in communication is less about what is said and more about how it is said, carried with a heart rooted in self-respect and a spirit unshaken by the need to prove themselves. Aggression is loud, forceful, and often born from insecurity or frustration. It may seem powerful on the surface, but it erodes respect and connection beneath. When a woman approaches a conversation aggressively, she risks pushing others away because she demands rather than invites. Aggression is a mask that hides vulnerability, and while it may seem like strength, it often breeds resistance or fear. It says, "I must fight to be heard," and that energy, no matter how intense, rarely creates the meaningful connections we truly crave. On the other hand, submission is the opposite extreme. It's the soft, quiet voice that folds inwards, sometimes out of fear, sometimes out of habit. Submission can be a way to avoid conflict or discomfort, but it often leads to invisibility. When a woman submits in conversation, she sacrifices her own needs and silences her truth to keep the peace. This silence, while it might feel safe in the moment, chips away at her confidence over time. It builds walls inside her heart and distances her from genuine connection. Submission whispers, "I am less than," and no one can truly respect what is hidden. Now the high-value woman finds her power in a different place in respect, confidence, and clarity. These are the pillars that hold her communication steady and strong. When she speaks, she leads with respect for herself and for the man she is speaking to. This respect means she does not demean or belittle. She does not try to dominate or disappear. Instead, she honors both her own voice and the presence of the other person. It is this respect that lays the foundation for trust, understanding, and deep connection. Confidence is the next vital element. Confidence isn't about arrogance or boasting. It's about knowing your worth and not being afraid to stand by your truth. A confident woman is not worried about whether she will be liked or approved. She understands that her value is inherent and does not depend on external validation. This confidence is palpable. It shows in her tone, her posture, and the calm in her eyes. It invites respect naturally because it signals strength without hostility. Clarity is the third pillar, the gift of being clear about what she wants, what she feels, and what she expects. There is nothing confusing or vague about her words because she speaks from a place of self, awareness, and purpose. Clarity is a form of kindness because it spares both parties from misunderstanding and frustration. It creates a space where honest dialogue can flourish. When a woman is clear, men know where they stand, and that certainty builds security and attraction. Leading with these qualities means refusing to fall into the traps of aggression or submission. It means choosing to communicate in a way that uplifts rather than tears down, that connects rather than divides. This kind of leadership takes courage to be honest, courage to be vulnerable, and courage to be unapologetically herself. Imagine the difference in energy when a woman leads this way. The room shifts. Men listen differently because they feel invited into a space of respect rather than challenged or dismissed. Conversations become more meaningful because they are built on mutual understanding and trust. This is not about winning arguments or proving points. It's about creating harmony where both voices can be heard and valued. This kind of communication also teaches a valuable lesson. Strength is not about overpowering others, but about holding your ground with grace. It's about having the inner peace that allows you to speak your truth without fear or aggression. It's about knowing that your voice matters and that you have the right to express it fully. Many women have been taught to either shrink themselves to avoid rocking the boat or to fight aggressively to make their point. But the truth is, neither extreme serves them or their relationships. The real power lies in the middle ground, the place where respect, confidence, and clarity meet. This is where true leadership in communication lies. When a woman leads like this, she models a new way of being. She shows men and the world that strength can be gentle, that confidence can be calm, and that clarity can be kind. This leadership does not just affect conversations. It transforms relationships, deepens intimacy, and builds respect that lasts. So, the next time you find yourself in a conversation, ask yourself, am I leading with respect? Am I speaking with confidence? Am I clear about what I want to communicate? If the answer is yes, you are stepping into the power of a high. You woman, you are no longer reacting out of fear or frustration. You are leading with intention, grace, and strength. This is not always easy. It takes practice, patience, and self-awareness. But every time you choose this path, you reinforce your value and the value of your voice. You teach others how to treat you, and most importantly, you honor yourself. Remember, the way you talk to men or anyone is a reflection of how you see yourself. Lead with respect, confidence, and clarity, and watch how the world begins to respect you in return. Listening is one of the most powerful gifts you woman can offer, and yet it is so often overlooked. Real listening goes far beyond simply hearing words. It is an art, a deep, intentional practice of being fully present, of opening your heart and mind to the person speaking without distractions or judgment. When a woman listens actively, she sends a message far louder than any words she could speak. I see you, you matter to me. This kind of listening creates connection, builds trust, and deepens intimacy in ways that talking alone never can. Think about how rare it is to truly be listened to. How many times have you poured your thoughts out to someone only to feel ignored or interrupted? How many conversations have felt like a game of waiting for your turn to speak, rather than a genuine exchange? The pain of not being heard is real, it cuts deep, and leaves people feeling invisible, undervalued, and disconnected. But when a high-value woman listens, she reverses this dynamic. She chooses to step into the other person's world, to hear not just the words but the feelings behind them. She watches the subtle shifts in tone, the pauses, the body language, all the unspoken cues that carry meaning. This level of attention tells the man she is speaking with that he is important, that his thoughts and emotions have a place in her heart. Active listening requires patience and humility. It means setting aside your own agenda and the urge to respond quickly. It means resisting the temptation to judge or fix. Instead, it means simply holding space for the other person's truth to unfold. This act of patience and presence is rare and precious. It allows vulnerability to emerge naturally, Because people feel safe when they know they are truly heard. When a woman listens this way, she invites honesty. Men, like anyone else, want to be understood without fear of criticism or dismissal. When they feel that safe space, they open up, they share not just their facts, but their fears, hopes, and dreams. This is the beginning of real connection, where walls come down and hearts reach out. Listening also shows respect. It honors the other person's experience and validates their feelings. This respect is magnetic. It draws people closer because everyone wants to feel seen and valued. When a woman demonstrates that respect through active listening, she elevates the conversation beyond surface-level talk to something meaningful and transformative. There's also a powerful reciprocity in listening. The more a woman listens with intention and care, the more she is likely to be listened to in return. It creates a rhythm in the relationship, a dance of giving and receiving that fosters balance and equality. This balance is essential for any healthy relationship because it nurtures mutual understanding and support. Moreover, active listening strengthens a woman's intuition and empathy. By tuning deeply into others, she hones her ability to read situations and emotions with greater clarity. This insight allows her to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It makes her a better communicator because she speaks from a place of understanding, not assumption. Listening also requires courage. It's not always comfortable to hear another's pain, frustration, or disappointment. But a high-value woman faces this courageously because she knows that true connection demands honesty, even when it's difficult. She doesn't shy away from hard truths. Instead, she embraces them with compassion and grace. Imagine the impact of this kind of listening in a conversation between a man and a woman. The man feels deeply heard and respected. His guard lowers, he feels safe to be vulnerable, and in that vulnerability, attraction grows, not the shallow kind, but a profound, lasting connection built on authenticity. This is why listening is a superpower. It transforms relationships from transactional exchanges into soulful connections. It bridges gaps that words alone cannot cross. It shows that a woman values not just what she can say, but what she can receive. If you want to practice this art of listening, start small. When you are in a conversation, focus fully on the person before you. Put away distractions, make eye contact, and listen with your whole being. Resist the urge to interrupt or jump in with advice unless it's asked for. Instead, ask gentle questions that invite deeper sharing, like "How did that make you feel?" or "What's on your mind right now?" Remember, listening is not passive. It's an active, dynamic engagement that requires your full attention and heart. When done well, it becomes a bridge that connects souls. So, the next time you speak with a man, don't just wait for your turn to talk. Listen, truly listen. Show genuine interest. Hold space for his story, because in that space, something beautiful happens. Connection blooms, trust deepens, and relationships transform. This is the language of high-value women. The language that builds lasting bonds. The language that moves beyond words. There is a sacred power in setting boundaries, a power that many women underestimate or shy away from. Yet high-value women understand that boundaries are not walls built to keep others out. They are bridges that create clarity, respect, and attraction. Setting healthy boundaries is one of the most profound ways a woman communicates her worth. It says, without words, "I know what I deserve, and I will not settle for less." And when a woman sets boundaries with confidence and grace, the way men respond shifts dramatically, respect deepens, attraction intensifies, and relationships flourish. Boundaries are often misunderstood. Some think they are harsh or cold signs of rejection or distance. But true boundaries are anything but that. They are acts of love for oneself and love for the other person. Boundaries are the lines drawn around our time, energy, emotions, and values that protect us from harm and guide how we allow others to treat us. When a woman sets a boundary, she is not pushing people away. She is inviting the right people to step closer, the people who respect her enough to honor those limits. Think about the last time you said yes, when you wanted to say no. How did that feel deep inside? Did it leave you feeling drained, resentful, or small? Saying yes out of obligation or fear is a subtle way of shrinking yourself. It sacrifices your needs and your peace for the comfort of others. But when you begin to say no, not rudely or defensively, but clearly and kindly, you reclaim your power. You teach others how to treat you, and in that teaching, you build a foundation of respect. Setting boundaries is not about controlling others, it's about controlling your relationship with yourself. It's about protecting your inner world and honoring your truth. When a woman sets boundaries, she aligns her actions with her values. She shows up as her authentic self, unafraid to stand up for what feels right to her. This authenticity is magnetic because it radiates self-respect. Men notice this power immediately. They recognize when a woman values herself because she communicates her limits confidently and calmly. This confidence invites respect, not because it demands it, but because it embodies it. When a woman allows disrespect or mistreatment, she tells the world she is willing to accept less than she deserves. But when she sets boundaries, she declares that her worth is non-negotiable. This clarity inspires men to step up, to match her energy, and to meet her on a level of mutual honor. Boundaries also create safety, emotional, mental, and sometimes physical. They establish the parameters within which connection can grow in healthy ways. Without boundaries, relationships can become chaotic, confusing, or harmful. But with boundaries, there is clarity. Everyone knows where the lines are drawn, and this clarity breeds trust. Trust grows because both people understand the limits, respect them, and feel safe expressing their true selves. Setting boundaries is a courageous act because it requires vulnerability. It means risking rejection or disappointment to protect your peace. But this courage is a testament to strength, not weakness. Every time you assert a boundary, you reinforce your commitment to self, love and self-care. You show that you value your emotional well-being above the temporary comfort of pleasing others at your expense. This courage also models healthy behavior for others. When a woman sets boundaries, she teaches those around her how to respect themselves and each other. It shifts the dynamic from one of power struggles or codependency to one of mutual respect and balance. This shift creates fertile ground for genuine attraction, the kind that comes from seeing and honoring each other as whole, valuable beings. The way you set boundaries matters just as much as the boundaries themselves. Hi Val, you women set boundaries with kindness, clarity, and firmness. They don't apologize excessively or make excuses. They communicate their limits with grace, understanding that boundaries are an act of care, not confrontation. This approach disarms resistance and invites cooperation because it comes from a place of strength and compassion. Imagine the difference in your relationships when you begin to set healthy boundaries. Imagine how men respond when you say no without guilt, when you express your needs without fear, and when you protect your energy without apology. You will notice a shift not just in how others treat you, but in how you feel about yourself. You will stand taller, breathe easier, and move through life with greater peace and confidence. This transformation goes beyond attraction. It touches every part of your life. Boundaries help you protect your time so you can focus on what truly matters. They guard your emotions so you aren't drained by negativity or toxicity. They maintain your mental clarity so you can make decisions that honor your path. And all of this strength radiates outward, attracting people who honor you, cherish you, and want to grow with you. So, remember this, boundaries are not barriers. They are the language of self-respect. They are the way you communicate your worth without saying a word. When you set them boldly and lovingly, you don't just transform your relationships, you transform your life. And that transformation, it is nothing short of powerful. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. In a world that praises strength and self-reliance, vulnerability can feel like a risk, a moment of weakness that leaves you exposed and unprotected. But for high-value women, vulnerability is not a weakness. It is a profound source of strength. It is the courage to be real, to show up as your authentic self, and to open your heart even when the outcome is uncertain. This balance between vulnerability and strength is the secret to building deep trust and lasting respect in any relationship. Think about the walls we build around our hearts to protect ourselves from pain, rejection, or judgment. Those walls may keep us safe, but they also keep us lonely. They prevent others from truly seeing us, from connecting with the parts of us that are most human and most beautiful. Vulnerability is the key that unlocks those walls. It invites others into your world in a way that no facade ever can. But vulnerability doesn't mean exposing every detail or losing your boundaries. It means sharing the truth of who you are, your fears, hopes, imperfections, while holding onto your sense of self-worth. It's about being honest without apology, open without losing your strength. When a woman embraces this balance, she demonstrates that she is whole not despite her vulnerability, but because of it. There is a profound power in this kind of openness. It tells the men in her life that she trusts them enough to be seen fully. This trust is contagious. When a woman allows herself to be vulnerable, it encourages the man to lower his own defenses and meet her in that authentic space. It creates a dance of honesty and acceptance that deepens connection beyond surface-level interactions. This kind of vulnerability also demands respect. It is a statement that says, "I am not afraid to show you who I really am, and I expect you to honor that truth." It is a brave act that calls for kindness, patience, and understanding. When met with respect, vulnerability becomes the foundation of trust. Without it, relationships often remain shallow or fraught with misunderstandings. Strength balanced with vulnerability also means knowing when to stand firm and when to open your heart. It is a dynamic interplay, a delicate dance. Strength without vulnerability can come off as cold or unapproachable, while vulnerability without strength can feel like surrender. But together, they create harmony. A woman who embodies both is magnetic because she is authentic, approachable, and resilient all at once. Imagine a conversation where a woman shares a fear or a dream openly, without shame or hesitation. She does not expect the man to fix her or judge her. She simply invites him to witness her truth. This openness is powerful. It humanizes her. It breaks down barriers, and it fosters a deeper understanding. Men respect this courage because it takes bravery to be that real. Vulnerability also allows a woman to express her needs and boundaries clearly. When she communicates from a place of honest emotion, it is harder for others to dismiss or misunderstand her. It creates a safe space where both partners can be honest without fear of rejection or ridicule. This safety is essential for any healthy, lasting relationship. There is something incredibly freeing about embracing vulnerability. It releases the burden of pretending to be perfect or invincible. It allows a woman to accept herself fully, flaws and all. This self-acceptance radiates outward and invites others to do the same. When you are at peace with your own vulnerability, you no longer seek validation from others. You create it from within. Balancing vulnerability with strength is a lifelong journey. It requires self-awareness, courage, and practice. It means learning to trust yourself enough to be honest, even when it's uncomfortable. It means choosing authenticity over approval. And it means knowing that your true power lies in your ability to be seen and loved for who you really are. This balance transforms not only how men see you, but how you see yourself. It builds a foundation of self-respect that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. When you stand in your vulnerability and your strength, You become unbreakable not because you are flawless, but because you are real. So, the next time you feel the urge to hide your true feelings or put on a mask of perfection, remember this: vulnerability is your greatest strength. It is the bridge that connects hearts, the light that shines through darkness, and the courage that inspires respect. Embrace it, own it, let it guide you to deeper, more meaningful connections. Because when vulnerability is balanced with strength, you don't just survive, you thrive. There is a remarkable power in intention. Every moment you speak, you have a choice to say something that lifts, connects, and inspires, or to say something that distracts, diminishes, or divides. Hey Val, you women understand this deeply. They communicate with intention. They know that every word, every pause, every tone carries weight. When a woman speaks intentionally, she speaks from a place of clarity, purpose, and self-respect. She doesn't waste words or energy on noise or games. Instead, she uses her voice as a tool to build bridges, not walls. Communicating with intention means being mindful. It means thinking before you speak, choosing words that reflect your truth and values. It means recognizing the power your voice holds to heal or hurt, to inspire or discourage, to open doors or close them. Val, you woman never underestimates this power. She speaks with care because she knows her words shape not only how others see her, but how she sees herself. There is an emotional depth to intentional communication. It comes from a place of self-awareness, knowing who you are, what you want, and what you stand for. It means you don't say things just to fill silence or to please others. Your words are deliberate, purposeful, and real. This kind of communication commands attention because it carries authenticity and confidence. Imagine the difference it makes when a woman speaks with intention in a conversation with a man. She doesn't ramble or speak just to be heard. She listens first, then responds thoughtfully. She expresses her needs clearly without beating around the bush or leaving room for misunderstanding. She uses her words to build connection, to invite understanding, and to create respect. This intentionality shows a man that she values herself enough to be honest and direct. Communicating with intention also means owning your emotions without letting them control you. It's natural to feel strong emotions: anger, hurt, excitement, or joy, but Al, you women don't let those emotions dictate their words in ways that damage or confuse. Instead, they acknowledge their feelings, process them internally, and then choose how best to express them. This control is not suppression, it is mastery. It shows emotional intelligence and maturity, qualities that deepen respect and trust. When a woman speaks intentionally, she also understands the power of silence. She knows when to pause, when to listen, and when words are unnecessary. Silence can be as powerful as speech because it invites reflection and shows confidence. It signals that she is comfortable with herself and the conversation. This balance between speaking and silence creates a rhythm that makes communication richer and more meaningful. Intentional communication also protects a woman's energy. Words have energy, and careless speech can drain or scatter that energy. Val, you women guard their energy by choosing when, where, and how to engage. They avoid gossip, negativity, and pointless arguments. Instead, they focus on conversations that uplift, challenge, and nurture growth. This selective communication creates an aura of positivity and strength that attracts the right people. There's also a responsibility that comes with intentional communication. When you know your words carry power, you become mindful of how you use them. You avoid manipulation, sarcasm, or passive aggression. Instead, you speak with honesty and kindness. You express your needs without blame or attack. This kind of communication builds bridges rather than burning them down. It creates space for vulnerability and connection without chaos or confusion. Imagine the impact when a woman communicates this way consistently. Men begin to see her not just as a partner, but as a leader in the relationship. They recognize her strength, clarity, and integrity. This respect and admiration deepen attraction because it's rooted in authenticity, not pretense. It's a magnetic force that draws people who value realness and depth. Communicating with intention is a practice one that requires patience and self-reflection. It means learning to pause, to listen, to consider the impact of your words before you speak. It means being honest with yourself about your motivations for saying what you say. Are you trying to express love, set a boundary, share a dream, or are you reacting out of fear, anger, or insecurity? When you speak with intention, you answer these questions honestly and choose your words accordingly. The beauty of intentional communication is that it doesn't just transform your relationships with others, it transforms your relationship with yourself. Speaking clearly and authentically reinforces your self-worth. It builds your confidence and your sense of agency. It reminds you daily that your voice matters, that your truth matters, that you matter. So the next time you prepare to speak, pause and ask yourself, am I communicating with intention? Am I choosing my words to build connection, show respect, and honor my truth? If the answer is yes, you are stepping into the power of a hive. You woman, you are using your voice not just to be heard, but to be felt deeply and meaningfully. Remember, your words are more than just sounds. They are reflections of your heart and mind. When you speak with intention, you don't just communicate, you create. You create understanding, respect, trust, and love. And that creation, it's one of the most beautiful gifts you can give the world.